buy now, pay later. 3 words that completely change the way people spend money. Because the moment you separate buying from paying, people stop feeling the real cost. Most people already know they shouldn't spend money they don't have, and they still do it. Not because they're stupid, but because they're being psychologically pulled into it every single day. Most people who overspend are not careless. They know on some level that they are spending more than they should, and they still do it, month after month. Then wonder why knowing better is not enough. The answer is not in the budget. It is in 7 specific psychological patterns, most of them invisible, all of them exploitable. Understanding them does not fix everything, but it changes the game. Because you cannot interrupt what you have never clearly seen, none of what follows is about blame. These are not character flaws. They are features of human psychology being actively exploited by systems built to make you spend. Once you see the mechanism, you can start working with your brain instead of against it. Present bias. Instant gratification wins. Your brain treats the present as real and the future as abstract. The pleasure of buying something today is vivid and immediate. The regret of next month's statement is distant and vague. When those 2 things compete, the present wins almost every time. This is called present bias. It is not a personal weakness. It is how human brains evolved. But modern spending systems were designed to exploit exactly that gap. The future consequence feels abstract. The purchase feels real. So the purchase wins. Shift. Before any non-essential purchase, pause and picture yourself in 7 days with the bill in front of you. Delay the purchase by 24 to 72 hours. You are giving your future self a vote in decisions your present self usually makes alone. Present bias makes tomorrow feel distant. But the second pattern goes further. It removes the feeling that spending costs anything at all. Pain of paying is delayed or hidden. Paying with cash creates a small but real neurological signal of loss. That friction slows spending down. It is an automatic break. Now replace cash with a tap, a saved card, or a buy now, pay later option. The transaction happens instantly. The pain does not. Your brain registered a reward but no corresponding cost. And when there is no cost signal, spending increases. Not because you became less responsible, but because the system removed the mechanism keeping you honest. When the pain of paying is delayed or hidden, spending feels free, even when it isn't. Shift. Recreate friction deliberately. Remove saved cards from apps. Use debit instead of credit where possible. Type card details manually for online purchases. The harder it is to spend, the less you spend. The third pattern kicks in the moment the purchase is done, and it is remarkably convincing. Cognitive dissonance, self-justification. You know you should save, you also want the thing. Those 2 thoughts conflict. Conflict is uncomfortable, so your brain finds a way to make them compatible, instantly generating reasons. It is not that expensive. I deserve this. I will fix it next month. This is cognitive dissonance. The brain is not lying to you. It is protecting your self-image. Believing you have good judgment feels important. And if the purchase conflicts with that, the easiest fix is to decide it was actually fine. The brain protects your self-image, even at financial cost. Shift. Start noticing the specific phrases you use to justify spending. I deserve this. It's cheap anyway. When you hear those words forming, label them as justification, not necessity. That 1-second pause between the excuse and the action is where real choice lives. The fourth pattern is where spending stops being about things and starts being about feelings. Dopamine reward loop. The best part of buying something is not having it. It is anticipating it. The moment you click purchase, dopamine releases. Again, when the shipping notification arrives. Again, when the package appears. The brain builds a reward loop around the act of buying itself, completely separate from whether the item brings lasting satisfaction. This is why people browse when bored or stressed. Shopping has become emotional regulation. The trigger is discomfort. The behavior is buying. The reward is the spike. Repeat. The brain gets rewarded for buying, not for having. That's why the loop never feels finished. Shift. Stop browsing when bored or stressed. That is exactly when the loop is most active. Replace the habit with something that delivers a genuine dopamine return. A walk, exercise, music. You are not removing pleasure. You are disconnecting it from spending. The fifth pattern pours fuel on the dopamine loop by changing what your brain considers normal. Social comparison pressure. Every time you open a social platform, you are shown a curated version of other people's lifestyles, their trips, their apartments, their purchases. Your brain unconsciously updates its model of what is normal. What you have starts to feel like less. What they have starts to feel like the baseline. Spending becomes less about need and more about closing a gap that was never real to begin with. You are not comparing yourself to the average person. You are comparing yourself to a highlight reel. You're not spending based on what you need. You're spending based on what you've been shown. Shift. Audit your social feeds. Unfollow accounts that consistently make you feel behind. Limit exposure to lifestyle content when you are in a low or bored state. You cannot control comparison if you keep feeding the input that creates it. The sixth pattern is invisible by design, and it works because of the way your brain handles numbers. Mental accounting illusion. 50 euros a month does not feel like much, but 4 subscriptions, 2 payment plans, and a membership at 50 euros each is 300 euros a month, 3,600 euros a year. The brain does not automatically add those numbers together. It processes each one in isolation. Each feels manageable. Together, they are significant. Buy now, pay later products are built entirely on this psychology. Split one purchase into 4 small payments so the total never quite lands the way it should. It feels small because you're only looking at one piece at a time, but the full picture is never small. Shift. Once a month, look at one number, total outgoings, not category by category, everything added together in a single view. Convert every monthly subscription into its annual cost. That single act of visibility destroys the illusion that small payments are harmless. The seventh pattern is the quiet permission slip that sits underneath everything else. Future optimism bias. Next month, I will earn more. Next month, I will be more disciplined. I will fix it later. This belief is so common it barely registers as a belief. It just feels like reasonable optimism. But what it actually does is give present you permission to overspend today, because future you is going to handle it. Except future you arrives and faces the same pressures, the same patterns, and the same decisions. Because future you is just you, with the same brain and the same habits. Future you is not a different person. Future you is you, with the same brain you have right now. Shift. Build your financial plan on your current income only, not the raise you expect, not the month you imagine will somehow be easier. Treat future money as uncertain and current money as real. Plan with what is real. Hope is not a budget. 7 patterns. A brain that makes today feel more real than tomorrow. Systems that removed the pain of spending. Self-justification that protects your image at financial cost. A dopamine loop that made buying emotional regulation. Social comparison that made someone else's highlight reel your new normal. Mental accounting that made debt feel small. An optimism bias that keeps handing permission to a future self who never quite shows up differently. None of these make you irresponsible. They make you human, but knowing the mechanism is the first step to working with it. Pick the one that felt most familiar. Start there. One pattern interrupted is one pattern that stops costing you. If this gave you something useful, share it with someone who needed to hear it, and subscribe to the channel for more.